what is this? The kick on the sound.
Welcome to Beer Money Pulling Team. Sit down, shut up, and hang on. Welcome to Let's Grow Pulling. Charles and I want to wish everybody, and I don't know if you wish everybody a happy Memorial Day, Charles, because we know the meaning of it, but you're so much more eloquent at speaking than I am. But our veterans, the people that made the ultimate sacrifice to, so we can go truck and tractor pulling and freedom and not have to worry about stupid stuff. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people take it for granted, the freedoms we have, because they don't know anything else. And again, we're not going to get into all that stuff tonight, but thank you for the people that signed up, did their duty, and they, like I said, they paid the ultimate sacrifice, and their families that still carry on their memories today. Thank you for all of that. And that's what Memorial Day is all about. My daughter marched in the, our little town has a parade, Richland Center, Wisconsin, Charles, about 5,000 people. We have a whole war memorial here in our town, and they do an awesome job. They do an awesome job of representing our veterans and honor Memorial Day.
We do as well. Goes off at 10 o'clock. It goes right past the house here. The memorial is that way. The cemetery is literally out my front window here across the street, and there is, I don't know, roughly 100 men and women who made that sacrifice over there. And I've lived here my whole life. I've got the utmost respect for that.
Yep, thank you. So tonight, I just sent a message out this morning to everybody. I'm like, hey, if you want to take the night off, just take the night off. Spend some time with your families. We're going to we all get really busy, from the pulling media to the pullers to the announcers, everybody like that. It starts now. I mean, TPC kicked it off last week, and obviously Memorial Day weekend, really nothing, no big PPL or NTPA or outlaw pulls, but a lot of brush pulls are getting going. A lot of state associations are getting going. So tonight, really, I want to know what you did this past weekend, what polls are coming up next, what we want to talk about. Obviously, Charles and I have some notes. We're going to talk about different things like that. Charles, you were up in Onaway, Michigan at the Speedway. Can you kind of talk about those truck drags and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's the Canadian style uphill semi racing. Running 500 feet to bobtail and no trailer, 700 feet with a trailer. And I know a lot of people always ask, why not just have it be an actual 8th mile? And it has to do really with the geography of the facility that Mike Sturgill has up there. He didn't have the physical space to make it where they could run the 660 safely bobtail and then also do 700 and get everything stopped. But this style of racing is really, it's the Canadians' invention. It's out in Quebec. And we do everything from street trucks that tomorrow morning will be out making a living wherever they're from, all the way to purebred racing machines. And great weekend, good weekend of racing. But I feel like for Class A, which is the top of the sport, we're at kind of that tipping point. It's always been a thing to have passengers, guys that could ride along in the cab. You can see what it's like and be right there when a guy's doing it. And they didn't have to wear fire suits. They didn't have to wear helmets. For Mario Monette, the Beast, his single axle truck that only races bobtail that I rode in last year, he is now fast enough because of NHRA. He does have to wear a fire suit. And he unfortunately blew the differential on a burnout Saturday and couldn't continue his weekend. Had he continued with the weekend, though, I had the invitation to go with him again. I was going to have to put a fire suit on to go ride with him. And that's fine. I don't care. I'm good with it. Especially after what we saw out of some of the Class A trucks this weekend with engine explosions. We're at that point where safety is a concern. These things are, for lack of a better term, they're hauling ass, literally. We're looking at trucks that are knock on the door 3,000 horsepower, and they would anybody who's got a 700 horsepower Duramax and you think you're fast, you're not fast. These 16,000 pound trucks would hand you your lunch. What Jason's got on the screen there, those are Class C trucks. Those are work trucks. But it was a good weekend. We broke a lot of stuff, scattered a few engines. We didn't thankfully do any block launchers. We didn't have anybody hurt, but good weekend. Falls right in the middle of 3 weeks of having to memorize for each different weekend 200 different people. And over those 3 weekends between TPC, this, and what happens next weekend at UCC / Outlaw Diesel Revenge, I don't get to see the same person twice. So it's a challenge right now.
Absolutely. Here's a starting line. This probably looks like a Class C truck too as well.
No, those are A. That's Tyson Brandt nearest the camera, and I'm not sure who he's got on the far side there. It might have been Michel Dename, who wound up going all the way to the final in A loaded, which is those trailers are roughly 120,000 pounds, and they will get to 700 feet, beyond the 8th mile in under 20 seconds with that. I mean, they move it.
Wow. So what did Flow Racing? So Flow Racing was there this year, right? And they covered the entire event.
They were.
Did you notice anything different?
Yeah, they were live both days. They did not have anyone from their staff to sort of be, interviewing people or whatever. They did have a handheld camera guy at the starting line, and if something happened, we tried to coordinate with each other. Where I would go out there, and if the hoods got popped, try to put the camera in there, and I would try to explain what I was seeing and what was going on. But they did not have anybody on staff, but it was out there. It is out there.
Nice. I'm going to show one more video here. So Hope, who works with us, and Doug, it's Doug's girlfriend, but she also works with us as well. She loves this stuff. Like they went up there just purely for recreation. You know what I mean? Just to go up and have fun. Obviously get some short videos and stuff like that, but they went up just to enjoy the event.
Yeah.
And we went up there last year and, to get video and different things like that. And I know Adam Wilson talked about, this is Adam's favorite event to go to.
Yeah.
And video and stuff like that. So it's pretty neat to see all this up there. So, and
this pair right here, this is the B class. This would be a limited turbocharger class. So it's kind of like, the 4.1 version, which actually is really kind of close to that because it's an 81 millimeter charger limit.
Okay.
For B class. The far side, you've got Ryan Eagleson out of Ontario, and nearest to us is Christopher Belil, who's from Quebec.
Do you run into a lot of pulling fans at these types of events, Charles?
I do. There was at one point, I don't know who he was. I have no clue. As we said, we allow ride-alongs in the cab with these guys, and somebody was getting in the cab of somebody's truck and he had a bootlegger T-shirt on. I was like, hey, look at that!
Love it. I love it. Let us get these guys fire up a little bit. And again, this is where Charles was this past weekend. up in Ottawa, Michigan. Now, this is at a speedway, Charles? Is like a legit raceway or what?
Yeah, they have an oval track, and in the center of the oval track is a sled pulling track as well, which we will use at Labor Day weekend in the fall. We go back there and do this again, and we do sled pulling. And the Canadian guys, most of them have never done that before, so that's fun. Because they're not used to it or expecting of it.
Right.
But the hill climb is just directly to the north of the Oval Speedway and whatever real estate that Mike had left to be able to fit one in.
That's awesome. How long have you been involved with this event?
Since the beginning. It started 2016, I think, was the first year down here. And but it's been going on up in Canada for, 30 years, I think. Wow.
That's fun. I know I've talked to Patty Hazley in the past, like at UCC and stuff like that, and she said, a lot of the younger kids with the drag trucks, they started out in pulling, but they got the drag racing isn't as hard on the suspensions and other parts, obviously, as pulling a 40,000 pound sled. They put the same go fast parts in them, obviously, and do different things like that. And that's what makes a UCC so unique. And I know that's next weekend, and you obviously announced that as well. But it's I call it the Olympics, if you will, of diesel trucks. You got a drag, you got a dyno, and you got a pull. And it's pretty neat to see how all that stuff's together. This is a video. So Chandler, one of our videographers for Beer Money Polling Team, went up north, and he went to Unity, Wisconsin. He went to the Kevin Rudd Memorial Mini Rod Pull yesterday, and I think this is from today. He was up in Taylor, Wisconsin, but this was in El Camino doing a startup. Obviously, I have the sound off, so you and I can chat and talk over that. But
yeah,
it'd be fun to see all the videos he got. It's fun, Charles. We kind of run a circuit. Like, I'll see outlaw stuff all summer long, and you'll see kind of your same stuff. It's fun to go to a pull and, and not recognize every pulling vehicle. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's the neatest thing, really, at this point. I enjoy kind of going different places and seeing different stuff I haven't seen before.
Yeah, so it's pretty neat. So I talked to Yarn a little bit. I said, hey, what do you want me to talk to you about, for TPC? The biggest thing is the money's been counted. Last week was hectic with everybody. They're getting ready for another track and tractor pull from the Pro Pulling League this coming weekend. But everything's been counted. We're waiting on 2 more sponsor checks to come in and kind of all of our final expenses. Because if you did the live stream or if you were there, you heard Charles and Leroy say that we collected enough money to cover our cost. We just want to make sure that, $1,000 bill for this didn't come in or whatever before we, because the extra money goes in to the purse of the Pullers Championship and give it out. So the one thing we have officially announced is that each winner got $5,000, and then the team will bust it all out to pay out to the final, the final 10 spots and everything there. So again, thank you to everybody. If you haven't filled out your survey yet, please do that. It's for spectators. It's for pullers. I've been talking to, there was a lot of stuff on pulloff.com about the sound. I talked to Ryan Zolik about that a little bit. He said when he does the replays, he knocks out all the sound. I think that'd be some of the confusion. I admitted that when I was beneath you, Charles, and Leroy, I didn't know when you guys were talking. I couldn't hear. I need to watch the board for the interviews.
And to be totally honest about all that, if we were upstairs and you started talking, we couldn't hear you. So it goes both ways. It's just something we got to work on. It's nobody's fault. It's just it's really, if you're not there and you're not trying to do it, it's tough. It's really tough.
And I'm never going to make anybody happy. And I do like to read the comments. I will take constructive criticism. I obviously have some people just hate my guts, and I try to sort through that a little bit. And try not to get, when I'm tired, it gets to me a little bit, Charles, in full honesty. But most of the time, it's just water off my back. I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to grow the sport, and all I've ever said, and what you've said, Charles, we just want to put more eyeballs on the sport.
Yeah.
What you, the promoter, what you, the puller, do with those eyeballs, that's up to you, because you can't do it all. More people are watching pulling now than ever because of social media. I challenge all you pulling associations and all you pullers. This is your chance to go get your sponsorships, to take it to that next level, because we do have more eyeballs on it. And with full pull bets coming, again, you don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. It's coming. It's going to bring more eyeballs to the sport. Yeah. I can't talk about it a lot, but the team is so excited. There's some gigantic announcements coming. You're going to see it's going to get rolled out at Toma. There's going to be a lot of pick'em contests, a lot of fun stuff like that. Not necessarily the actual gambling part of it, but a lot of engagement these first couple of years. And this full pull app, Charles, that they've been building, it's it's an encyclopedia on your phone of truck and tractor pulling. Like it's gonna
That'd be awesome. And full disclosure, like I have not seen that,
Yep.
so that's awesome. If that's there, I'm all in favor of that, dude. That'd be sweet.
It's gonna be and they're gonna call it full pull. It's gonna be one of the neatest apps you've ever seen. I mean, honestly, I'm not just saying that because it's in polling, and like, why am I so behind this? I've seen what sports wagering has done for NFL football and NBA basketball and different things like that. Just excited for just to really kickstart this a little bit. So Toma is going to be your first chance. The app is going to roll out about mid-June, and then Toma is going to be the first. There's going to be some road shows. You're going to see some of your heroes on the stage talking with some of the full pull staff, just having fun, truly entertaining, and then getting brand awareness and recognition out there about full pull bets. So excited for that. Once we can
trash, hopefully. This is my mission this week. I love it. Talk some trash, guys.
Yep. So
I don't care if you get together and share a steak dinner and it's all over and the cameras are put away, but talk some trash. It's fun.
Street Outlaws was a perfect example to me. There's some legitimate rivalries. You could see that. And then there was some that it kind of made up, and like you and I, Charles, could poke each other, but people knew us like, that's just Jason and Charles being Jason and Charles, or if whoever was on the panel with us. But there's some legit rivalries. We need legit. Yeah.
There is. I was driving up to Onaway Friday night. I was listening to the Drag Illustrated West Bucks show with Pat Music talking about No Prep Kings. And Pat is a guy who has never taken a quarter from anyone. He will go to fisticuffs, even though he's 71 now. I love it. I love the chippiness, and we need some of that. We need some of that.
Well, polling needs some. We need some rivalries. We need some enemies. We need some good old boys, but we need some people that you just hate and you don't want them to win, like you cheer against them. I like Brandon Simon for that particular thing. He's got money. He's cocky. He's confident. Whatever you want to say about the guy. It was funny. I always watch the last 50 laps of the Indy 500. The first 150 are boring to me, but because all the strategy and the fuel stops and all that stuff. But the last 50 laps are money for me. So first of all, I thought of you right away, Charles, when I saw that tire go over the grandstands.
Oh my gosh! I was in the middle of the race, and a friend of mine who came up to visit, she's like, "Hey, did you see this?" I'm like, "No, I hope nobody's hurt."
Yeah.
Oh.
So it was funny. All the video, the cameras, the phone, camera phones out in the parking lot. Hit that little Chevy Cruze. I saw ours in Impala or something like that, and to see that, but then to hear one of the guys, they had his radios, and he said a couple curse words, and that's where all the unprofessional stuff comes from. It's like, I feel like some people live in la la land that we can't be real, and we need to show the real side of polling. And I'm not saying every word needs to be. I don't want Charles and Miles Krieger using the F word, but I like personalities. I like showing a little bit of flair.
I'm not going to do that at an event. I'll do it on here. I'll say anything. I don't care on
this is our show.
It's a different deal, but at a show, no, I won't. I will not go that far personally. But I will tell you, this weekend, I was out there for 2 days, and on Saturday we had an opening address from the Presque Isle County Sheriff up there, Sheriff Brubaker. The only curse word that was said on microphone the entire weekend was bullshit, and it was the sheriff himself who said it.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, Colin Burkholz had a funny. He said it put on a Snapchat, but it had a picture of Brandon Simon's face, and it says "wanted" for using bad words. And it just kind of funny. And
I saw that too.
Like, hey, I have a potty mouth. I do.
I do.
Not going to deny it.
Many years in construction, for better or worse, I say all the bad words.
I learned mine in the Army. I was when I went to base training between my junior and senior year in high school, and I had never heard the F word really a lot used properly until I went to the Army. And
you hadn't heard it yet as an adjective, a verb, and a noun.
Was shown an entire new world. I mean, people literally all over the country and the world, that were in the Army, and to see that, to experience that stuff like that. So yeah, we don't need to live in la la land. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but polling needs some legit rivalries. And if these purses, Charles, can get to where I think they can get to in these next 5 years with full pull bets and more sponsorship coming in, where we have legitimate professional race teams that all they do is go truck and tractor pulling, and it won't necessarily be from the purse. NHRA, NASCAR, they're not paying the bills from winning the race, Charles. They're paying the bills from the sponsors. And when there's enough eyeballs on the sport that a sponsor's willing to come in, do $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a year to fund your team, then you got something really going on. And that's truly what I personally want the sport to get to. I still want to have a poll this weekend, like I went to in Byron, Illinois, where we can have some hot farm classes and some altered farm classes. But I want that highest level of polling just to be 10 or 15. I love what we did at the Pullers Championship. I loved having just 10 in the class, Charles.
Yeah.
And a few classes were light. It was quick. It was moving. There was always something new going down the track. It wasn't mundane. I love two-wheel drive trucks. I don't need to see 31 of them. I don't want to see 55 of them like you do at Bowling Green. And that's not a knock on anything. I don't want to see 55 of anything. Nothing. Because it's just we talk about the world we live in, and we all, right now, and we're bored easy and stuff like that. So just super excited for all of that stuff that's coming on. So
something that struck me from TPC, you can go to the website and you can see this. Like, we got everybody's bio, right? It goes down, hometown, name of your pulling vehicle. What is it? What are your hobbies? What is your profession? What do you do for a living? One guy, his profession said professional tractor puller, Donnie Sullivan. How do we get it to where 100 guys can say that?
Yeah, money.
Exactly.
Well, and then I'm going to say one last thing. So we've been, pullers are our worst own enemies. We are. Jeremy, is it Jeremy Yantis? Yantis, right? Did I say his name wrong?
I don't know. I'm going to fail this one as well, okay. Probably.
But he's an absolute nerd when it comes to the history of the sport. And that's a compliment. And I know Jeremy well. We've had many conversations on the phone and, text messages and back and forth and emails and stuff. The purses that we were paying out in the 80s are the same to what we're paying out now. Okay. The cost of a pulling vehicle has gone up 10 times. I don't know what you could have put a pro stock together for in 1988, Charles, or 89. I have no idea.
I reckon it was rather affordable, but that's just life.
And now
it was building a house. I mean,
yeah, no, it's all. But that's my point. Again, I'm not picking on pulling, but if we truly want to grow it and get the purses up, we have to create it. You guys, WWE is fake as hell, right? It's fake wrestling.
You almost said it. You almost said it.
but it's legit. Like, it's popular because it's entertaining. Yeah. So that's why we need to entertain the pullers more. So promoters, if you have any chance of getting more pullers on the microphones and interview them at the polls. Now, there was some feedback that I shouldn't be talking to Jeff Hurt's kids and whatever. I'm going to do it my way, because that's my one chance to do that. Like, if you don't want me at your poll, don't have me come to your poll. I get to go to TPC because I help plan it, But that's all part of the fun of it. I see some of these driver interviews, and I see them talk to the driver for 30 seconds. They just want to pull against some of the best competitors in the nation. And I see all these other people stand there smiling. I want to talk to every single person on there. And maybe during the poll isn't the time to do that, Charles. I get that now that I really have had time to analyze, and because we had 2 tracks going bang, bang, bang as fast as we could. The only really break we had is in between classes, right? And then when Tyler, we can always count on Tyler Slaw, right, to give us 5 minutes.
Right. Well, but how do you please everybody? Oh, there's too much downtime in pulling. Well, okay, 2 tracks were going so fast. Now there isn't time to talk. Yeah. Oh, you talk too much. How do you win?
Yeah, you can't.
What do you do? So you're never going to please everybody.
But like when when you're part of a promotion team like we are for TPC, I can sometimes read comments and then I'm like, oh, whatever. But when it's our event that we did, that we poured our heart and soul into, I take it personal. I really do. Because you're not there. You're not there. You don't know the time. You don't know why the whys, the hows, different things like that. But again, you don't have to defend it to everybody either. And that's not the purpose of all of this.
Right.
It just
and not to say that everything is discarded either, because it's not that at all either. There was plenty of constructive feedback that was excellent and very well advised.
No, and I know that
taken to heart. I mean, totally. So
I know 2 or 3 people can log in under 10 different aliases too and hammer me and tell me I'm not good for the sport and I'm not professional enough. And I don't know what professional as in means. I mean, we live in a world, it's not suit and tie world anymore. And I just want to go out and have a good time and entertain and put on a good show. But all I've ever wanted to do is put more eyeballs on the sport. That's it, Charles. That's it. It's all I've ever wanted to do. What we do with these eyeballs as pullers, as promoters, whatever, fair boards, that's up to you. Because you have the chance to go out.
It's big enough now. You can find anything. If you want Jim Nance as your presenter, you can find that. If you want Mean Gene Okerlund, you can find that. If you want Joe Rogan is your presenter. You can find that. There's room for everybody and a different way to do it.
Yeah, that's what makes it fun. Let's flip back. I'll start getting to the comments a little bit. And we appreciate tonight's just kind of a free-for-all. We need to do this every now and then. And again, I'm going to talk about some polls that we're promoting these next couple of weeks to the promoters that have reached out. And again, I'm going to plug us a little bit here, Beer Money Polling Team. Don't forget to promote your poll on social media. It's not everything. We know that. But you're busy building tracks, getting volunteers, getting food vendors, getting porta potties, whatever you got to do to put on a poll. You can hire us to promote your event on social media. That's what we do. I have 3 full-time employees. That's what they do, is, with videos. And we have 60 Facebook pages that we run, and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff. And it doesn't have to be us. You don't have to like Jason Schultz at all. There's other people out there to do it. There's a lot. Just reach out to the people in your area and say, hey, help me promote my poll on social media. Right. Because there are people that's what they do. I've always prided myself and surrounding myself with people smarter than me in areas that I'm not. And that's what you do. And Charles, you see that at work. We see that everywhere we go. Everybody's got a skill set, and let them excel at their skill set and rock it out there. So, okay. Back to Timothy Wolf. He's saying going to have to mandate the cables. That was from the truck and drag.
Already a thing in Class A and Class B for the semi racing. It's already there.
Chuck Hobbs, Irish polling team. I got to see him at Byron, Illinois. So legit, Charles, nuclear power plant 1 mile away, big stacks. And I actually made a funny reel. I said Travis Schlaubaugh warming up the Bone Twister because it's just the steam, from the reactors rolling off the top. The other side, seen
that drag strip? Yeah, it's like off the finish line, out the back door. There's 2 cooling towers down there. It's pretty cool.
It's amazing. So there's a motocross track at the top of the hill. Mark Kelsey, who put on the Satsuma, Florida pool, is from Byron, Illinois. They bought that racetrack down in Satsuma. Doug, Hope, and I went down to that in March, helped him with that poll. I did a little bit of announcing down there, etc. And he's like, hey, come to our poll in Byron. We have friends who live in Sterling, Illinois. My wife's best friend from college. It was perfect kind of a Memorial Day weekend before we get into craziness. I'm like, yeah. So Friday night they did side-by-side drag racing. So he had UTVs on one track with a tree, Charles. It was awesome. And then he had a lot of stock trucks. There's 40 or 50 trucks in one class. Double elimination. That lasted a couple hours Friday night. And then Saturday night came back to ISP. And then also brought some 4-1s in. Some of the Badger State guys went down just to get some shakedown passes. Nick Gallitz won again. Man, that kid – he won TPC last year, got second at TPC this year, defending Badger State champion. He's a tough cookie to beat in the 4-1s. Got to see some of the 3.6 Pro Stock diesel trucks off constantly. Kurt Hazley's old truck had gone to Doug Muller in Richland Center. Now it's in the Stahl stable. SSR, Dave Stahl drove it, got second place down there. So that was neat to see them. I got to get all these videos posted as well. But we talked about this before we went live. So Badger State Tractor Pullers has badass pro stocks. We saw that. Yes. We saw some of them at TPC. Why? They want to go home every night. They just flat ass want to be home, whether to farm or to milk. They can't run out to Benson, North Carolina this weekend or Monette, Missouri or whatever. But they want to run a pro stock. There's a lot of hidden gem announcers that don't get a national spotlight because they fall in association. Matt Hart is one of the best freaking announcers I've ever heard in my life. I got introduced to him a couple years ago. He came to Gordyville or Ship. I don't remember which one it was. Charles, I don't know.
Both, I think. I think
we gave him a microphone. We gave him a microphone, let him do a class. And he's an auctioneer by trade. And he talks faster than I do, but you can actually understand him. He enunciates his words. He's a trained talking professional, and he's funny, and he's entertaining. And that guy freaking never stops. He has a motor like I have never seen. And
if I ever had to work alongside him, people would forget my name. It'd be over. Dude, the guy's got a personality that's magnetic. It's awesome. He's so fun.
The sound system at that place was unfreaking real, Charles. Like unreal. Like there was actually comments on my lives that they could hear the announcer in the background. Because normally I talk a lot during my lives because they can't hear you guys. Because the middle of the track is never where the speakers always face out.
Yeah, Byron's good for that. Yep.
It was amazing. I had a really, really good time. Neat facility, really good track. Could use a couple more portable lights from a video, picture taking point of view. But I'm telling you, neat facility. And they had a really nice crowd Saturday night. So it was good to see a bunch of people. I don't get to watch the ISP guys a lot. I got to see the Harnish tribute to Dennis Harnish, who passed away a couple months ago. I got to see those badass little light diesel supers little short and Inches Matter and a couple of those other tractors I've always seen videos of them. That was
I'm
a lot
so
of
jealous. I want to see them someday.
a lot of fun. And they stick that nose in the air, Charles, and they duck walk like an Alki.
Yeah.
So it was fun to see that. So really, really, really good time there. So yeah, Chuck says, well, Mark Kelce did an awesome job on the facility Saturday night with a very hardworking team. Yeah. Bob was very impressed with the ISP show. They were organized. They had all their tech officials on. They looked professional. They got a really nice trailer. So Illini State Pullers, that's what ISP stands for if you're not familiar with them. And they kind of just run that northern part of Illinois. And they do a good job. I don't know all the classes that they have, but I talked to as many of the people as I could. They had a 65 open, Charles.
Oh, was that the open RPM and the what do they call it? Top fuel antique, I think they call it, or whatever?
No. Well, anything can go in here. There was a 3.0. If you just weigh 6,500 pounds. So there's single engine mods, diesel trucks. It's a fun class. It's kind of like the Run What You Run class that Full Pull Richard Love has. Full Pull, whatever. But it was fun. And, I like when the smaller clubs like that kind of have a class that's theirs. Where they did it out of necessity in 2018. They flat out told me, and they thought they made a mistake. But they were, they only had a couple in this class and a couple in this class. So they kind of did the 65 open thing. And it was fun because I saw diesel trucks competing against
mods. Is that the class where Jason Werley's got that two-tone square body Chevy on cut tires with a Duramax?
I think so. That
thing is so sweet.
I think so. Werley wasn't there. He's a big sponsor. I saw his logo everywhere.
Yeah.
On the ISP stuff. He wasn't there. It was his mom's birthday. Matt had said, but it was a lot of fun. So neat to do there. Shane Hunt, I want to say a huge thanks to Smithland, the Kentucky Fair Board for this weekend. First time they had a pull in 14 years, and fortunate to do my first solo announcing show. The crowd is absolutely hot all night long and cannot wait to go back. See, that's a positivity stuff we like to see, like that pulling grows and get all that hair. So Ed Everkemp, he runs the Outlaw Mini Rod Series. He puts 4 or 5 poles together. We've had him on the show before. He lives in Platteville, Wisconsin. He says we have some personalities. Keith Haynes says, yes, we do. Thanks for watching, guys. Colin, jail time being thrown around for a cuss word. Keith Haynes, motor builder versus motor builder, chassis builders versus chassis builder. It would be fun for the sport. Yeah, it would be.
Yes, it would.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm mark it down. 5 years. This sport's gonna be completely different. Because you
don't have to say the other guys. You don't have to come out and say hey, my competition's a bad guy or a bad person or he builds junk. All you got to do is come out and say, I'm gonna kick his ass. For a while there, I like playing up the Hazley Scheid thing. I mean, that's in that class. There's 2 builders. There's Hazley and there's Scheid at that super stock diesel level. And you bet your ass Patty Hazley's keeping track of how her customers did versus Scheid customers, and Scheid's doing the exact same thing. That's fun. That makes you go back and try a little bit harder next time, Charles. And that's what we need. I want to see the purse money come along with it, and not just have these guys have to just keep paying for it out of their own pocket. So Ed Everkemp says 8 to 12 in a class is perfect. I think so too. I get why everybody wants to go to Bowling Green. I like Louisville, 6 in the finals, 8 in the finals, bang it out Saturday night. We're done. You qualify for that. I wouldn't be against pull-offs so much if we didn't have so many damn hooks, if we didn't have 30 pulls a year that we could go to, and if we could run the pull-offs at the end of the night. And I've heard other people say this too. It's not fair to the guy that, they got into the pull-off for the last pass of the class, and they only got 10 minutes to cool down, like they do. And don't they do that in Europe, Charles? Yeah, everybody goes out and they set the sled just light and they go down the track 50 mile an hour. But it's expected over there that you're going to run, 3-4 times.
Yeah,
in a given weekend, and everybody tunes for that. And
but they have
great. I wish we would do that as well. And over here, like I'll say, I agree with the idea of 10, 12 is great. Bowling Green, though, I will pluck that one, I guess, out and say I appreciate it for what it is, the history there, that it has always been come one, come all. So 50 show up in a class there. For that event, I'm totally fine with it because I want to see where everybody comes down at. And going in what you're up against. You're up against the draw, the bingo balls, and the track's going to change. It's been that way for 5, 6 years. You know what you're getting there.
Yeah.
Everywhere else we go, I'm fine with 8 to 12. Yeah, it's good.
I just don't like it, where, the track, nobody can build a track that'll not turn over in 50 hooks. I would love to see grab the top 2 out of the first 10, the top 2 out of the second 10, the top 2 out of the third 10. Then that's your pull off at the end of the night. To me, that would be, because that track's going to change throughout all that stuff too. But it's also, I don't know. Again, we're not going to get into all that tonight. Just a general quick moving show. Again, how do we grow the sport for the average fan? Not if you're watching this show right now, you're a diehard. You're a diehard pulling fan. You watch Let's Grow Pulling every Monday night because you just want to see what's going on in the pulling world. Sometimes we make you laugh. Sometimes we make you cry. Sometimes we say, I can't believe he just said that. But you know what? This is what we do. This is fun. We have promoters on here. We have pullers on here. You meet the personalities of all that stuff of the sport. So it's just fun to see that. Speaking of a super fan, Russ Dostal from Pierce, Nebraska, he went to see Dr. Mark Ulmer for therapy and picked up their new pulling shirts. Ulmer is so good for the sport. I had the Badger State show here before this, and he does the rear end for Paulson's Deer Addiction Light Pro. It's just fun to see all that stuff. Talk about that. And Russ sent me that picture as well. Tim Wolf says that was a big deal back in the day at Bowling Green. Harold Walliser interviewed drivers as they drove off the track after a hook. Heck, for that, Army Armstrong was big on driver interviews too. Yeah. I've been going back to the Pulling Reference channel, Dan Mayer's YouTube channel, because we're doing live streaming now for Beer Money Pulling.tv, and now Outlaw Pulling.tv starts next weekend in Monette, Missouri. To see how they did the interviews and all the different camera angles, they did a hell of a job, Charles, back then promoting it. I don't want to slow down the show, but if we can do an interview, and things like that, that's what we're going to have to do, be more and more. So
it's easy to jump up there and do it real quick. Army Armstrong's good at it. Tom Hartzell is good at it. A couple questions, just real quick. Hey, what did you make of your run? What do you think the next guy's going to do? Okay, see ya. That's all it takes.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Just kind of, I'm going to flip some of these comments up. We got a bunch.
Sorry, Nick, that you're associated with me.
They're doing a hell of a job with their crew shirts.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of people wearing them now. Keep it up, guys. Matt Hart is awesome. He is. You guys are blessed. You're blessed to have him. And that we need to. And Charles, you and I and the team, we need to give these guys a little bit of a spotlight when we can. Have them come on the show and talk about that stuff. If we ever do all the ideas we ever came up with, we'd run out of time. But it's fun.
Right.
Yes. WTP announcers. Wisconsin Tractor Boys is a really good announcer as well. Matt is class act. Tower Sound. Yeah, that sound system in Byron. Whew. It was awesome. Kevin Earhart says, I could hear him through the helmet as I wound up on the line. Yeah, he just keeps going. The Rock and the Bone. Yeah, Skeltons came and they hooked in that 65 Open. Nice. That was fun. It's fun to have a really pull like that, Charles, because a lot of times you'll pick up a Grand National guy or a gal that just wants to get a shakedown pass, before their season starts.
Well, no, and those guys, for whatever reason, family commitments or whatever, they're not traveling like they used to. So just even having them be out there and still bending the throttle is cool. I don't care where they're doing it. Just knowing that the Skeltons are out there still doing it does my heart good. That's awesome.
Yep. Indiana Pulling League does a 6,000-pound combo class, maybe only for a few shows during the year. I'm not 100% sure on that. Adam Wilson would be our resident IPL expert. He's probably sleeping, so
he probably took today off. He might even still be up north. He might have said, "Nope, unplug in," which is easy to do and on the way because there's no cell signal up there. I don't even know how Flow Racing got the stream out. I have no idea.
We what's that thing, Elon? We got Starlink, Charles, for Outlaw Pulling TV. That's what we went with Elon's deal. That's pretty slick. So
I'm sure they've got something that's way above my pay grade, and that's just fine.
Yeah, they do that for a living. That's their real job.
Yep.
Randy, congrats. They had a big poll. A lot of poll. I mean, if you guys go through social media, again, if you see stuff, like it, comment on it, share it around. That's good for everybody when you're scrolling your feeds on social media. Matt Carter, he's out in the Carolinas, starting a YouTube channel. Esden Backhouse, share. That a boy. Andy Gerbaugh, where was Andy at? He was at a drag race this weekend.
He was at Norwalk for PDRA. He was hanging out with here's a name drop, Chris Holdorf.
So he used to be a puller,
Mr.
right?
Florida Cracker.
That's okay. Gotcha. I didn't know the history on that. And I follow Andy's one of my Facebook friends, and I was following through all that. He got up way too early. He kept talking about he had nobody to talk to. I was just kind of giggling to see Andy just kind of walking around by himself, just looking for somebody to talk to.
I haven't caught I've caught Chris at Maple Grove and down at Door Slammer in Orlando, running 632, and it's awesome that in the 70s he's doing good and still out there racing and still involved in motorsports. And you want to talk about, we want to go back to the trash talk and starting the rivalries. Chris did it better than anybody.
Yep. No, it's fun because I feel like the NASCAR bloomed during the Dale Earnhardt years and the Richard Petty, the rivalries and stuff like that. Because you either loved Earnhardt or you hated Earnhardt. But either way, you were watching. Howard Stern's probably a bad example for our particular show. But a good talk show host, he or she, right? They open up the show with you have to pick a side, and you either you watch because you like that topic or you hate that topic, and that's where we need to fill these stands with people like I just really want that guy to blow up. And I know that sounds terrible, and that's such a different mindset because we're all no, let's have some fun with this. Let's really cheer loud and because nothing is better than a loud crowd, a full house and loud. To Shane's point, the crowd was engaged. Charles, you know what it's like, because I love when people have had a few beers in the crowd because it's fun, because people are just a little more lively and they're a little more fluid, and it just feels like you're at something, Charles. You know what I mean? So
there was an element, and it was never. It was legit the trash talk, but it was never done for meanness. So if you go back even on my YouTube channel and watch, I can't tell you what year it was. There's an old Indy Super Bowl video, and in the opening part, whoever it was presenting the show. I don't remember the announcer. He's talking to Jim Brockman, and Chris Holdorf comes in from off camera and chokes him. It's funny. It's awesome.
Oh, I love it. I do it. That's people want to be entertained, right? We watch TV, we go to social media to laugh, to entertain, to get out of our life a little bit and be entertained by somebody else. And the people that do that the best, that's what it's all about. So yeah. So all you announcers and promoters, try to do more interviews this year. Really do it. I mean, it's fun. Even before, I love what Charles and Leroy did before the Pullers Championship. Go out on the track, talk about the event, grab a couple pullers, grab some people from last year that did well, and just show that personality off a little bit. And go find a personality. If you know somebody's a bad interview, don't interview them.
Right.
Let's just be real. And some of you guys don't like to talk, and that's okay. Some of you don't want to be interviewed. Just tell us. I mean, I've had people, Charles, say, Jason, get that effing camera out of my face. I'm like, all right, done. Walk away. You don't hurt my feelings. I'm on to my next story. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's all good.
As the back this weekend, who don't even speak English, they're French Canadians. They're not going to talk. It's like I ain't mad about it. It's all right. Or if they wanted to, I said, go ahead, give your victory speech in French. I don't care.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would assume that was pretty well watched on Flow Racing. That would be my gut.
If it wasn't, the reviews, the replays sure will be.
Because that's just something that there's just not a lot of it, Charles.
Dude.
You know what I mean? And
it's growing in the U.S., but we're way behind those guys.
Esden Backhouse, Toma 3.5 weeks away, absolutely. We're promoting Toma. We're working with Chris Schreier and David Keel up there and the team up there. That's where Full Pull Bets is going to roll out. Their official launch is going to be in Toma. So there's going to put a lot more eyeballs on that. And when you see what they're going to bring to a grand stage, and Toma's one of those, like Charles, we always say, you don't have to say the state, and you know what it is. It's just one word. Toma, Chapel Hill, Bowling Green, Wisner, Rock Valley, Rockwell. There's just certain ones out there. Benson, that you don't need. Everybody just knows. The super fans know. The people have been around the sport a long time.
Right.
Be like Holdorf, bring on the trash talking. Alan Washburn's an amazing. Yeah, we've had Alan on the show, Morgan. It's going to take exposure and telling folks what pulling is and not the assumption. Absolutely, Keith. Absolutely.
That's true.
What's your thoughts on the pull in Benson? I don't know a lot about the pull in Benson except Strickland's put on
it hasn't happened yet either, so what's to say? I mean, it's next week. So
yep. So it's a great event. It's a kickoff of the NTPA Grand National season. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Elite Reels checking in from California. She makes awesome stuff, Charles. They don't have a ton of pulling out there, but what they do, she makes cool videos. So follow her on YouTube.
They got enough. Sooner or later, I'm going to spend some time out there in the valley and check that stuff out.
Ed Evercamp, the Kevin Rudd Memorial Pole was great. Sean Whedon's son drove the GOAT for the first time, and the Little Red Hooker made their first pass since playing back together. I got video of that. We'll share that in the show.
Nice.
That's fun to see all that. So, Irish pulling team. The Dornbushes have two 6,500-pound. One has an Allison V12, and the other has a Blown Hemi. Yeah, that's the ITPA, I think, in their combo class there. So, speaking of French people, Jan, it's like 2 o'clock over in France right now, and he actually is from France. He's been watching our shows. So, it's been fun to see that. Dipstick Productions. That's Shank, right? Yeah. He would know. I'm pretty sure that's Jeff Shank. One of our camera guys from TPC. IPL is a light combo class. So that's his YouTube channel, Dipstick Productions. Elite Reels. Beer Budget. BMX Live. Great example of another amazing announcer and talk show host. I'll check that out. I've been doing interviews with drag boat racers after watching you guys interview people telling their story, and it's a great time watching. So thank you for the motivation. Absolutely. I love it. Yeah, Esden, we always grab Jeff Hurt. He's good for a
for a quote. Absolutely good for a quote.
Elite Reels, Flow Racing, they're awesome. I think they're doing the PPL stuff this year. I think I've seen some.
Yeah, whatever. It won't be all of them, but whatever you would have seen on MAP TV in the past, they will do it as well.
I love it. Andy Gerba says, interview in the heat of the moment, exploit the raw emotions and personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Haynes. Aiden's watching on YouTube, says, I live in Toma and sure is a sight to see. Colin Burkholz. There's been glimpses of rivalries on TV. ATPA tried showcasing Lustig versus Hart, and the NTPA tried Lustig versus Roberts back in the day. That'd be fun to explore that a little bit, Colin, a little bit more, and see what you got going on there. So, Esden Backhouse, is the GOAT the old It's No Joke tractor? Yes, it is. No, I think there's 2 turbos. Chuck will jump in on that. Charles, I'm going to log off the show for I'm going to leave the studio for 30 seconds and go turn off the Badger State show. They just finished up. So if you just want to keep yakking, I'll be right back.
Well, you got to train some better people, I swear.
Yep. Man, you're on payroll for like $1 a year. So it's all good. You get like a free t-shirt out of me or something. So
best deal you ever got. Yeah, you guys are absolutely right. Andy's point, heat of the moment, somebody's supercharged, you definitely want to catch them. And like, I'm not trying to be exploitative about it, but think back to some interviews, the Forces versus the Pedregons, or Al Hoffman versus everybody in Funny Car, and some of the fun stuff that used to happen. Shirley Muldowney used to get chippy with people, and I hate to keep going back to the drag racing side. I'm sure there's examples over on the NASCAR side as well. Kelly Armbro didn't take any quarter from anybody and would speak his mind and talk about stuff. Everybody. I understand the sponsor aspect of it and the need to appeal to that and try to preserve that relationship. But if there's no sport left to talk about because there's nothing going on that anyone cares about, you don't have those sponsors to even worry about. And let's be honest, most of the top pullers are self-funded anyway. So what sponsors are we talking about that those individuals have on the side shields or the fenders that they've got to be concerned with? They don't exist. And if you're at the corporate level as an organizational sponsor, same story. You want the attention, good, bad, or indifferent. If they're talking about you, they're talking. Why is that a bad thing? So kind of where I come from.
Here's the GOAT mini rod, Charles. I want to show this. It's no joke. Okay. The GOAT is Mike Evans's tractor. It's no joke. Okay, so we know it's no joke very well, Charles, from
yes, we do.
From Ship.
This is the new chassis.
I would think so.
Old tractor, new chassis, not the one that came apart.
So it's cool. This will be a good video here. I guess we're wrong, Charles.
Okay. Wouldn't even be the first time today.
Charles Chuck's like, no. There's Sean Wheaton, I know that.
Well, I don't know how completely different they are. It looks like an advanced chassis to me, so that's not terribly different.
So Chuck's saying they're completely different minis. Okay, sounds good. I just know they're both turbocharged and they're cool. So they're cool. So let's see here. So we talked about TPC, right? We got the money counted. We're going to get all that stuff done. We're waiting on a couple of final bills to come in and do all that. So full pull bets, you're going to see that at Toma. There's going to be a lot of pick'em contests and stuff like that for you. You don't have to gamble. Okay, you're not gambling. You're just going on, and if you pick, there's going to kind of Charles, for lack of better terms, like parlays. Pick all the winners on Thursday night and win $500, stuff like that. I don't know exactly, so don't nobody pin me to the cross on this, but it just enough to know that it's going to be rolled out at Toma, and the app should be ready by the middle of.
There'll be fine print for all of that.
Yeah, we'll get all that stuff shared out there. So, talked about Byron, Illinois a little bit. We talked about Onaway, right? So
yeah.
Let's talk about track and holes hours. Our good buddy Brad that allows us to live our dream and put on the Pullers Championship is crazy enough to have another pull this coming weekend.
Yes.
So there's the poster up there on the screen. Champions Tour Pro Stock Tractors. Obviously, the 618 Motorsports has a pro. I've left Paul alone this entire week. Charles, I know he's been crazy.
I haven't had the heart to even ask.
Yep.
I haven't. I know it's not good.
Yeah, so I know that it ran every drop of oil out of that tractor as it went down the track. So a lot of different opinions on that and what happened. And
let's not go there. We already talked about it. Let's leave that one.
But mini rods are Champions Tour. Super stock diesel trucks are Champions Tour. Limited pros are going to be Silver Series. 85 limited pros are going to be Western Series. And then that Illinois Hot Farm in 12.5 mile class. So there's going to be some pullers there that got a pull at the TPC and they got a feel for that track already. And I'm assuming Tucker, if that's with that being PPL, Tucker will be involved in building that track.
If he comes through with what he did Saturday night, oh my, what a show it's going to be. I wish I was going, as much as happy as I'm going to be at IRP, I wish I was going to be there to see what's going to happen with that.
I think the Binder Express is running Grand National Super Farm points. So that'd be White Schulte, the nephew of Dan Schulte, 18 hours of Benson this weekend, then 10 minutes to Farley the next weekend. So yeah. That's a nice segue into Farley. Here's the poster for Farley. I did a quick live with RJ last week for 15, 20 minutes, and they had 11 pulling vehicles in the shop, Charles. 11.
I can't get my head around one, so.
Yeah, so I want to play I got a promo video for Farley because we're helping promote that event. I'll play that super fast. Give me 1 second. I got to find it. Like I actually did prep work for tonight's show, Charles. You should be kind of proud of me.
I know, I can tell. This is a new corner for you.
NTPA Grand National Pulling Action is coming to Farley, Iowa. 6 exciting pulling classes on June 9th and 10th. Modified 4-wheel drive trucks, super farm tractors, the exciting mini rods, the powerful modified tractors, the modified 2-wheel drive trucks, and the 10,000-pound Pro Stock tractor. Sessions 7 p.m. both nights at the 300 Raceway, Farley, Iowa, June 9th and 10th. Be there.
So for those of you that want to make video commercials like that, write the script first. I mean this. Write down the script, then make the video, then do your voiceover if you want the voices in there, because it is impossible to do it the other way, Charles. I've tried, and so write your script. Write your script.
Yeah, it's tough. Don't ever, because if we have to do it, we're assuming, and we get a detail wrong or something, and now you're not happy. Best you tell us the words to say.
Yep, it's better like that. Better like that. So have somebody do that. So, but thoroughly excited for that. So, obviously Simons, that was a PPL event the year before. Nobody knew what was going to happen with PPL this winter. I'm not going to get into why they went Grand National NTPA. There's got to be some stuff for Dad. Roger back in the day, Charles. Farley, Iowa, the home of Roger Simon, and one of the biggest names in pulling. And clearly, Dubuque County. We were joking about that. Dubuque County could have their own pulling pro stock class now, Charles, and compete with anybody between Rounds and all Simon's tractors. It's just a lot of fun. But they grabbed that. I'm assuming RJ's like, hey, we got to grab. We don't know what's going to happen with Champions Tour again. This is just pure speculation. But if I'm RJ and I got to grab a date and I want to make sure I have a pull, this was their dad's dream to have a championship level pull at their facility. And Jim Miller comes in from Ohio and builds a track and does a hell of a job. And we all know that's a sticky, icky track. And you better bring your low gear, if you know what I'm saying. You're not gonna overpower that track, is what I'm trying to say, Charles. So
yep,
Farley. So that's coming up June 9th and 10th. June 2nd and 3rd. So the Outlaw season gets started in Monette, Missouri this weekend at the Monette Raceway. I'll be down there with my team doing the outlawpulling.tv. So if you can't get down there, you can go ahead and check that out. And we talked about the track and holds hours coming up. So pulling season starts now. It's on, right, Charles, everywhere?
It's go time.
Is Michigan getting going yet, or when do you guys really get hammering?
It'd be another 2 weeks yet, and then we touch it off.
So the NTPA Grand National goes what? So Benson, Farley, Hutch, Toma. So I know we're involved with those three events. I got
June's a busy month on the NTPA side, big time.
Here's the Hutch flyer. We've been helping the Roses the last couple of years promote their event on social media. That track has not been the best in the past. They have some people up there. I forget their last names, but they own an excavation company, Charles, and they put a bunch of clay into that track and got it stirred in before it froze. So hopefully that will whip that into shape for everybody like that, because it's kind of that's the one thing that I know they need to work on, because they're bringing in, Ricky's got a big mod. Basically an unlimited, right? And that takes a lot. And then you got to pull the minis and the mods and the pro stocks and the diesel supers and the semis and the super stock diesel trucks all in the same tracks.
If you're going to put a mix of classes that are going to beat the living crap out of your dirt, they've got it.
But the Power Pole Nationals, Hutchinson, Minnesota, they're up against a big concert, Charles, called Winsock, I don't know, but huge country music festival. But Hutch is a big town, and we're just trying to help them blow this up and make it as bigger as they can. What you might not understand, fans, is like once you get your date, you're set. Like you heard us say, Benson, Farley, Hutch. That's your weekend every year.
Yeah.
And then typically you get first right of refusal on stuff like this. That's kind of your date if you want to have it. And Ricky Rose will not have anything else. He wants the highest level of pulling. Ricky has no F's to give, as I like to say, Charles, when it comes to
yes, that suits him. That's appropriate.
He would be a very, very good, very, very good thing there. So, yeah, let's see here. Mr. Pulltown Nuts getting his Busch Light ready for Bowling Green in August. We got to meet this guy in real life, Charles. Thank you for watching our show every Monday night and Tuesday night and Wednesday. He's on all of our shows. I love it. So, Esden, I am not pulling. I've kind of talked about it a little bit, but I'm done with the 4-1. Charles knows, and most people know, that I blew it up in Wisner. The pump hung at the end of the rung and completely detonated the motor. We didn't get it pulled down, completely tore down until January, and the motor's completely junk. Crank block, everything. So I had to make a decision whether I put a whole bunch of money back into the 4-1 class. I had ordered a component chassis a year ago. I really didn't tell anybody. Charles knew, a couple of my close pulling friends. I've always wanted to do more. With that news, I've been talking to Doug Meisinger, become a pretty good friend with him, with Scrappy, the Minneapolis Moline, and he's going to build me a diesel super stock. And it's probably going to take me a couple years, just full transparency. These things are not cheap. I do not have a money tree in the backyard. When I find it, all of you will know. Charles will have a pulling tractor when I find the money tree in the backyard, and I'll pay for it. Just because I want to see him wearing the Stig helmet. But it's been a dream. I grew up watching diesel supers. I'm 47. I think it's an amazing class. I love pro stocks, but I want a diesel super, so I'm going to build one. It may be dumb, it may be crazy. You're crazy.
You got a family reason for wanting to do that. That's what you grew up with.
Yep. So I'm pretty excited about that. Don't know what sheet metal it's going to have yet. Obviously, I want to do something very different. I'd love to be very unique in that. I'm going to talk to as many people I can, from all the different off brands, if you will. It's going to have a red motor. It's going to have a Schnittiker block. It's Taylor Van Beek, is going to do my tires. Of course, I'm going to stick with my same sponsors, but Doug's building it. I'm not going to, it'll probably be a 4-charger tractor because that's what Scrappy is. But Meisinger knows how to make diesel supers run. So I'm supposed to have my chassis this winter. And then, like I said, the rest of it will depend upon how much I can afford. So I've sold the trailer. Sean Works building a Pro Stock. He bought my trailer. The W9's for sale because we're going to go. Meisinger has a toter. And then I'm going to sell my rolling chassis. I'm pretty sure I got the rolling chassis sold. I've had 4 or 5 people say that if the first person doesn't want it, they'd be interested in that rolling chassis of the Remedy. But the Super will be called the Remedy. I hope it has a gigantic sponsor in front of it, Charles. I don't know. You're trying my butt off.
It's the dream. It's the dream.
It is, but we're trying. So if any of you out there in the factory tractor world, I would love to have a Deutz or a Valtra or something that nobody has. The Fendt that Ladwig rolled out at the farm show. I love Greg Elston's T8 Tomcat. I just want something different. But if I can't get any sponsor, it'll be a toss-up. I'll go back to the 1206, like my first hot farm, or probably nostalgically go back to the D21. That's what my dad had, and that's what got me going back in the day. So, but who knows? Like I said, I really hope a sponsor comes along. And Deutz has got some pretty badass sheet metal now. Charles, we've been looking at some of that and different things. So, or Versatile. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, the Versatile is a good idea because no one's really done that yet.
Yeah. So
Jerry, the Kubota.
so Travis is my pulling hero. Everybody knows that. He's from Ringo, Iowa. The Bone Twister is the shit. We all know that. And so Jerry was picking on me. He's like, "Oh no, Meisinger is going to be your hero." I'm like, "Well, it's gonna be pretty tight." But
yeah, you aren't going to be able to moderate any of this trash talking sessions anymore about TPC between those two any longer.
Travis pulled me off the side. Travis is my friend as well. And he said, "Jason, you're going to the right guy." People that know me, I have no mechanical ability. I don't have time. I don't have patience. I don't have focus. Doug and I are going to get a trailer together, and my tractor is going to go wherever Scrappy goes. My dream is to sit down once I get running, sit down with the NTPA diesel supers, the outlaw diesel supers. That's really where the main majority of them are. I know Bellefonte is out east, but mostly in the Midwest, and try to put a schedule together where, we can get 10 to 12 to 15, maybe. I don't know if that's even possible, but work together. You know what I'm saying, Charles? Like, yeah. All right, Travis, the outlaw diesel supers will come to Rockwell and Toma, but you guys have to come to Rock Valley and Wisner. And Wisner's a bad one because that's Bowling Green weekend. But try to work together on something.
If we could have 2 or 3 where everybody crosses over,
Yeah.
I don't, and I'm maybe talking on a turn on your idea, but we're not saying like you got to run both circuits and you got to, drop the ramps 32 times a year. It's not like that. Just get 2 or 3 times where everybody can get together and play.
Yeah, Travis said there's just a shelf life on diesel supers, and he's right. They're ticking time bombs. You hear that a lot. Anything big is nowadays, especially in the diesel world. I've had a lot of mod guys and mini rod guys come to me and say, Schultz, spark plugs would be cheaper than diesel. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But, I don't know which way you lean, but I'm just a diesel guy. I just grown up, and I'm going to die diesel. Maybe it's dumb. It's silly, but it's just who I am.
When I turn the microphone on at a show, I am completely neutral about it all. I love everything, but I have been totally unabashed over the years saying I'm a diesel super guy, and that'll never change.
And my dad's going to drive my tractor a lot. My dad is a hell of a driver, and Meisinger is going to drive it a lot too. I wanted to drive my 401 a lot last summer, and I did, and I had a lot of fun. But I'm not the best driver, and I never will be, because I'm telling you flat out, I almost wonder, Charles, if I should just say call it quits on owning a tractor or anything, because I would rather sometimes go get a cool video or interview somebody than actually have a tractor. But I've always wanted a diesel super. Always wanted to do this with my dad. We tried it a couple years ago. Just wasn't the right mix at the time. And I just feel like teaming up with Meisinger is going to be good. And to Travis's point, I have that comment up there. Diesel super stock rock the world. They do. Not enough people have seen it. I mean, a pro stock, that womp, womp, womp of a pro stock is badass for you diesel fans. But if you've never stood, I'm telling you, a diesel super coming off the line, if that doesn't give you goosebumps like nothing else, and then the 30.5s and the horsepower, I'm getting excited just talking about it. It's stupid. They're stupid cool.
Pro stocks will hit you in your rib cage hard, but a super, the sensation of it, literally trying to suck all of the air out of the world and then throw it up its stacks. You can't beat that.
Speaking of it, I had somebody tell me today, and I'm not going to say who told me this, but I was told that Colin Ross is running Grand National NTPA Diesel Super. Is that true?
The license that he bought, yes.
Okay. All right. I had not heard that or denied that, but somebody asked me today, and they were pretty adamant about it. And I said I had not heard that, so that could be a rivalry.
Yes, yes, it could.
I'm not gonna say nothing, but you know what I'm up to.
I'm friends with Colin. I'll stir the pot. I don't care.
No, I love all of it. I think it'd be fun as shit to get all that out there. So yeah, that's fun. That's fun. Jerry Kubota, Versatile. Yeah. So I did talk to somebody from Versatile, but I'm serious. If you guys know anybody at Versatile or Deutz or Vulture, one of those off brands like that, I should say off brands with, non-red or Deere. I really want something cool. I really
non-domestic full line manufacturers.
Yeah. I want to do something completely different with that. So, and we'll see what we can do. Need more Megatrons like Europe. But I didn't want to talk about that but I want to sell my W9. I made a video of it today. It's a cool truck, 317-inch wheelbase. It's lowered. It's got the lights. It's got the airbags. I got a stereo in it. It's a cool truck. I just don't want it to sit around for a couple of years waiting for me to get this Diesel Super done. And when I say wait on it, I mean how much I can afford to build at a time with this thing. So if you know anybody looking for a nice truck, I got 90,000 or best offer on it. It's a 99, so it's all pre-def or whatever, Charles, whatever you say like that. So be kind of neat to pull all that out. So, but yeah, so those are my ambitions. If the first person doesn't buy the rolling chassis, I'll get that listed as well.
Tell everybody what engine's in it for the W9. It's like
I don't even know. I know it sounds terrible. I really don't know.
I don't either. And I've slept in the damn thing. So
the generator is not for sale. We're actually we're going to do what Whistling Diesel would do to that generator. I bought
can we rip it wide open on nitro?
Yeah, no, whatever you want to do. Seriously, we're going to do whatever. I've saved it. I bought that generator during COVID when we couldn't get a diesel generator. And obviously that's been a lot of fun because it's so loud.
I'll drill the carb jets by hand to make it flow enough for nitro and just see how long we can make her go.
So honest to God, you could do that.
That'd be awesome.
No, you can do that, Charles. Honest to God. You could do that?
Yeah. And you know what? Without even having to come to you, we'll talk offline. I'll find out.
No.
I'll get a separate carburetor
I will throw you on a plane from Detroit to Madison, and I seriously want it to be like the funnest generator blow up in the history of the world. Like seriously, like that. Then my mom had the Chevy Blazer that she only drove her dogs around in, right? And it's just a piece of junk. And she was taken to the junkyard. It still runs. And I bought it from her for $300 because that's what the junkyard is going to give her. So I will do something with that Chevy Blazer and the generator at the same time, Charles.
We could do that. I've
nitro
in some similar stuff.
How hard is it to get nitro?
$350 for a 5-gallon pail.
It's going to be worth it.
That's way more than we need.
Oh, I love it. I'm serious, Charles. You think of something like that, and I will bring you over like that. That'd be a hoot. That would be hoot. It would be awesome to see Doug bring Scrappy to Chapel Hill. So that's my Diesel Super stock dream. It's going to happen. I just don't know when, but that's why you won't see me pulling for a couple of years, but you're still going to see me out and about. Very active with the Outlaws, with Outlaw TV. And then I'll be at Toma, Chapel Hill with full pull bets, Hutchinson, some of the bigger pulls, the Grand Nationals, a couple big PPL pulls as well, helping with all of that. So that'll be fun. So. Let's see here. Badger State opens up their benefit poll Saturday, June 10th over in Baraboo, Wisconsin. Every poller, you guys, donates all their money back to. They don't even take a paycheck. They come and pull for nothing, and all that money goes back in. And I think last year it was like $100,000 that they gave to the American Family Children's Hospital in Madison, Wisconsin. So super cool there. Dragway 42, June 9th and 10th. There's a lot of polls, Charles.
Yeah. When's
your next actual poll that you're doing?
I will be. I think it's the season opener for West Michigan Pullers. It's Saturday. Hey, got a second. I'm looking. It'll be at Hudsonville, Michigan, on Saturday, June 10th in West Michigan. That'll be my first at the county fairgrounds there in Hudsonville.
I'm gonna throw a video up for Dragway 42. So everybody take it. Charles, and I'll be right back. So that's Dragway 42 coming up again, June 9th and 10th there.
Great place to go see a pull and a drag race. Beautiful facility that the Matchams have got going on there.
So, so then Farley's June 9th and 10th. That's a Friday and Saturday night. And then Hutchinson is Father's Day weekend. Up in Minnesota, that's NTPA Grand National. And then over in Mackville, Wisconsin, that's going to be the Champions Tour has a couple classes up there, as well as Badger State. And that's where seeing Red Avenger under, maybe think of the light pro stock. This is the introduction this year where the Silver Series light pro stocks can run component chassis, and they have to give up a couple 100 pounds to the cast ass light pros.
Okay,
so
yeah.
That's what's going to be fun to see all of that. And on the Badger State show right before Let's Grow Pulling every Monday night at 7, we do Down and Dirty with the Badger State tractor pullers. We had Kyle and Al Paulson. Al Paulson's the dad. Kyle's the son, the Deer Addiction. And this is going to be the first. A light pro should go component before a 4-1 just because of that 1,000 pounds of weight. And they're making more. They spin that 4.5-inch charger. They're making more horsepower than the limited pro. So it's going to be neat to see how that balances out. Kind of like what we did, Charles, with the super farms at TPC with the intercooler tractors versus the non-intercooler tractors. We gave the non-intercooler tractors 200 pounds like they do at Louisville on that. So interesting to see how all that comes around. And then on the Outlaw side, again, Monette, Missouri coming up June 2nd and 3rd. Then Ravenna, Nebraska. This is a commercial we put together for Ravenna. This typically kicks off the Outlaw season, Charles. It's way out there in Nebraska, but Monette, Missouri came on ahead of this. But for all the Outlaw fans and the fans out west, here's Charles and I'll be right back after this commercial.
Baldwin Filters, MTV, and KFXL Fox, Nebraska invite you to the 2023 Ravenna Tractor Pull. 2 big nights, Friday, June 9th and Saturday, June 10th at 7 p.m. both nights at Anabar Park, Ravenna. See Grand National Outlaw Class, Pro Stock, Modified, Super Farm, Pro Stock 4x4, Modified 2-wheel drive, Light Pro Stock, Diesel Super Stock, Light Super Stock, and Light Limited Pro Stock. That's June 9th and 10th, Anabar Park, Ravenna.
Man, so speaking of vehicles I want to see again, that Ethanol Express truck.
Yep.
I was at DuQuoin last winter and it was there and it didn't run. He was having problems with it. That's on like bucket list. I want to see that thing again.
When he went to Toma last year, the tech officials did not know what to do with that thing. So it's going to be kind of fun. That's what he told me. I interviewed him on one of my behind the helmets last summer, Charles, at an Outlaw Hook. So it got to be kind of fun. Be kind of fun to check all that out a little bit. See that Mick Broughton's chiming in. NTPA Region 2, Moreland, Michigan, June 10th. Cool. Thank you, Mick. Yeah, there's polls freaking everywhere, you guys. You're gonna catch them. You're gonna catch them. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah. And if you, honest to God, can't find it, if you can't find a poll, just message us. Message Charles. Message me. Message Beer Money Pulling Team. Whatever. Sidetrack. We're gonna find you a poll. Chandler made it home from his triple pull weekend. Yeah, he was up in northern Wisconsin. Did Unity today. No, he did Taylor, Wisconsin today, Unity yesterday, and then Unity on Saturday, and the Kevin Rudd Memorial Pull. But again, that's where all the mini rods were, and that's where we had the video from the GOAT. So good to see there. They have a bunch in North Carolina. Matt Carter, good to see that. Southeast Wisconsin Showdown, June 9th. Yeah, so Poland's getting going, you guys. It's on. Arlington, Nebraska's the Saturday, June 17th, or is it Friday, June 16th? I got to get that. I had that ready here. We're helping with that one. Yeah, Saturday, June 17th. So something that's going to be kind of neat this year in the pro stocks. I think they're going to make it to Farley. Mettings have been running the 5.0 pro class forever. Mm-hmm. You know, then they'd always put a different power plant in for Louisville. Well, they got those things. They got the big motors in them, the big pros.
Yep.
And they're going to go out and see how they run, you know. And we talked to Clint right before TPC because we had his Nordyne, Texas pull, which had a heck of a turnout down there at Texas Truck and Tractor Pullers. But it's going to be neat to see them out there on that. They've never pulled it outdoors. You know, it's always been just Louisville, Charles.
Well, let's see what that Grandview Gangster Power can do.
Yep.
Let's start it right here. Let's talk some trash and talk about somebody who's got something maybe for somebody.
Well, it's coming from a good place. Mastersons seem to have it figured out. The tire game is going to be interesting to watch in pro stocks this year. Like, let's talk storylines now. Like, Charles, you make some predictions for this year. I'll make some predictions. I want the fans, obviously, to be watching. I know there's a lot of pullers watching. A lot. I'm not saying like who's going to win points. I'm like, what are going to be the big storylines? I think with the pro stocks, it's going to be tires, Charles. I really do.
I will go so far as to say, just based on what I saw at a TPC weekend from those who were there and participating with it, I will say that the Mitas tires are going to work excellent in pro stock. They are not going to work in anything else.
Yeah, we saw them on quite a few 4-1s. I had a set of Mitas for my 4-1 this year. That was going to be my plan. And just because I kind of like to switch things up, but I was super happy with that Pro Polar tire that I had, last year, that whole shot, once I got it figured out. But we see that a lot of the pros. I know Medding still got his whole shots on. I talked to Denny Brown, and he had a different set of Mitas on that weren't his. He was, his rims weren't ready on green with Envy. And Elijah did a hell of a job driving that pro stock. He just, like Denny said, he goes, we just never got hooked up and got some momentum. The tire game is huge. You remember when we had Ken Venny on, and he said, all we do is keep making more and more horsepower, and all the sled operators do is keep making it harder and harder to go.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sit, whether you like Ken Venny or not. And it's funny the amount of people that don't like Ken Venny. Since we've interviewed him, I've had people come up to me. I'm like, you don't like Ken Venny? No, he's arrogant. He's an asshole. He's a cock. I'm like, whoa.
Really? I've never had that experience with Ken.
I've had multiple people, and I was like, wow. I mean,
wow.
I don't know, but again, I love the rivalry. Go kick his ass and shut him up. I mean, that's what I want to say.
If you can, saying.
You can, good luck. Let me know how that goes for you. But the whole oh crap, where was I going? I lost my train of thought, Charles. Tires. Him saying, at what point do we just say these are the limits?
Yeah.
And then just because like again, when I was in Glencoe, the sled that was there didn't know that. I don't think that maybe Sullivan's were making a test hit with the Kentuckian, and they needed 14 weights, and they only had 12 or 11. So Wayne just went out like 200 feet and let out of it, or whatever, 250. That mean he had to deal with the sled operator ahead of time with that. But again, the average fan, it's funny if you guys read comments like I do, and I know a lot of you do. Well, they still go 330 feet. I mean, I see that comment all the time.
Uh-huh.
You guys, the sled operator, obviously, if you don't know this, the sled operator determines how fast that box comes up, how much weight they put in there. Mm-hmm. There's a good balance of, I want these things to hook up, get the front end in the air, and away we go. Obviously, unless it's a 4-wheel drive truck, that would be bad. We see front ends get in the air every now and then, but these doesn't end well for a 4-wheel drive truck. But what would be, that's something we're going to have to really think about and talk about, and that's where, why keep throwing more horsepower at these things if we can't build a track, Charles, to hook them up to?
Right. That's the thing. That's the thing. The other piece of that conversation that I hear all the time, and it really makes me very angry, is that your average fan, your quote unquote, your average fan doesn't know the difference between a super farm and a pro stock. And I think that's a load of crap.
It is.
They absolutely, you're going to watch one of those back to back, and you can't even just listening to it tell me the difference. Come on.
Yeah.
I hate how some of the insiders, and it's always fans, it's never pullers. The insiders want to insult the intelligence of the average fan. Oh, they can't tell the difference. They don't know. They're not part of it. Get the fuck out of here.
Right. No, a limited pro, a light pro, yeah, they sound a lot like, but a difference between a pro stock and a super farm. Come on, let's be real. It's 3 times the horsepower. Yeah, 3 times the horsepower. And yeah, super farms don't go womp, womp, womp like that. You know what I mean? So, but hey, whatever. Everybody's got an opinion as we're all learning here. Speaking of cool, so Kevin Moore got is it the 3B Cummins? Is that what Hazy built for him? Charles?
The 4BT.
4BT. So here is a on ride on the sled cam or whatever. Chandler got this GoPro video. So happy to see this back out. This thing gets more attention, and this will shake up the mini rod class, Charles. As more of these get built, and I know in Europe these are uber popular. Yep. In Europe, this is called compact diesel.
Nice use of German adjective. Appreciate that. That was awesome.
Oh, Morgan is so black and white. Are you calling the average fan stupid? If you don't know, ask and somebody will explain the difference. So, no.
I'm definitely not calling the average fan stupid. 100% the opposite.
People say, Morgan, that it's the average fan can't tell the difference between a pro stock and a super farm, and anybody with average intelligence can say that's not the same vehicle. So just take a chill pill there, Morgan. It's gonna be okay. So here is Kevin Moore's little red hooker, and this thing is cool. And this would have been at the Kevin Rudd Memorial Pole. I think they built this track in his backyard. I really do, Charles. That's awesome. And all the mini riders go flocking to this every year.
If I hit the Powerball, not only am I going pulling, I'm having a track in my backyard too. And it'll have a roof. It'll have a roof on it.
Shake that money tree, Charles.
I got one bone to pick. I got one bone to pick with this. These are less than $100. Buy some damn gloves.
Kevin, we're going to buy you some damn gloves. So I didn't even notice that, Charles. 4BT. Yep, we got that. Morgan says, I'm not asking you, Charles. I'm talking about the people who comment these things if they think the average fan is stupid, not you. Okay, good. Because we were gonna
right on, brother. I figured.
We already had people coming to your house, Morgan, to kick your ass. I know it. I have his address. So it's all good. I've been to their house multiple times. Schultes are good friends of mine. But no, so storylines. Let's talk storylines, and then I want to wrap this up. Charles is tired. It's been a long weekend. Got a short week. Then I'm heading to Monette, Missouri on Friday. Storylines, Charles. What this season? What do you see? Like, what are the things you're going to be watching? Because you're cool like that. What are you watching for this year?
We already talked about when it comes to 24.5 tires. I'm looking at the success of the Mitas and Pro Stock, but in every class below that where it's bar limited, I don't think that they're going to be the answer. So I'm going to be looking to see who's running what and how successful they are with what they're using. I am in the mini rods. I understand that there's I don't know what the right way to phrase it is. There's an embargo when it comes to tires as well. Kind of, we're back to the softer compound, and that's where we're going to stay this year. They won't, by being a little bit softer, they'll grab harder, but they shouldn't chunk as bad, but it's still going to be an issue for the minis. In limited charger class, well, in all charger classes, anything that runs a turbo, I'm looking at just simple availability. Who can even get what they want? And if they're forced into a situation of park it or just run something, where are they finding it and what are they finding? Because I feel like for every 10 guys who wants a Weimer, or every 10 guys who wants an Apex, or every 10 guys who wants a Hart, there's 6 that they can make, and they're running flat out. It's not that they're being jerks or being selective. They just can't make them. So I'm looking at that. And I think after that, probably the next thing that I'm kind of going to be curious about as the summer rolls on is who's that surprise? Who's that competitor that just comes out of nowhere and just blows our socks off? I haven't really seen it yet, but I think there's somebody out there who's just, you're going to wake up and go, oh, where the hell did that come from?
Any particular classes you got kind of rolling around your head, Charles, or just in general?
I think for this year, it will not be. Well, that's actually not fair now I think about it. Put me on the spot. No.
Hey, Charles, no. This show's live, just so you know.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I won't say it. I will say it is not going to be somebody in modified or in limited. It is not going to be somebody in diesel super. It is not going to be somebody in pro stock. It will be somebody coming somewhere else in one of those other classes. And it might be an individual who comes out with a vehicle that they bought and stepped in. So I'll say it. I posted a photo of her today. Jaden Littman. I'm looking at her. She shows no fear with that truck. I think
she drives it.
Some people.
She drives it.
Yeah. So someone like her is probably on the radar. Yep.
That's neat. That's I like that a lot. Kill switches will be a storyline. That's got to be a mini rod thing or what? I don't know what Chuck means by that. Do you know what he means?
Yeah, I think it is tied to that, but I think actually across the board, there's something there too. It goes beyond just the kill switch idea. It's the dump valve as well. We had a situation, the video last year, Randy Overton just shaking himself to pieces because he couldn't get to the dump valve. The guillotines were pulled, but he couldn't get to the dump valve to shut the truck down.
Okay.
So there's another piece to that there. Yeah, I don't think he's wrong.
Shane Hunt, I like this one. I think the amount of guys that form
Yeah.
the 5-0 Pro class is really going to
I think 5-0 is going to explode in Region 2.
I've been told there's going to be some big name pullers that we call, because they're the big pros, going to run 5-0. So
there's going to be some guys. There will be some names, I think, even that been sidelined for a year or two, but have a 30-year history in pro stock that are going to be out there in 5-0. Yeah, 5-0 is going to be a splash. Yes.
When we talked to Clint Medding, he'll say that they can pretty much go a whole season without tearing them down.
Yeah,
and
that's
the longevity. I think the Outlaws have 28 hooks for the 5-0 pros, and that's been a class that's been around for a while on the Outlaw circuit. And Charles, they sound good. Like they sound good. You know what I mean?
haven't experienced one. I know when it was first announced, I had like the blinders on, that tunnel vision thing. Like, why do we need to fracture this again? Why do we need another limited charger class? Why are we splitting this thing again? I took a step back though and started to understand kind of the global look at it, especially here in my region, and what it would mean to have some guys, some legacy guys back out there as pros and still doing it, and to revive, because in Region 2 where I'm at, pros are dead. It's dead. So we needed this. I've changed my tune. I've had the opportunity to think about it. And I'll say I was wrong. There is a need for it, and I'm excited about it now.
Well, I don't know any state level. So I know Badger State, obviously, because this is where I live. They have a strong pro stock class. Does OSTPA, they have pretty good pros, right?
OSTPA has a great open pro class. They have a good thing going, but where I'm at in Michigan or down through Indiana, they don't exist.
Well, I don't know if there's, again, I'm just trying to think as we talk.
Well,
Charles,
Indiana, they do, but they run Champions Tour. They're not state level.
Right. No, that's my point. I feel, I've always said this, that, you shouldn't be able to see pro stocks it needs to be special. Pros, big mods, super stock diesels. But what sucks is there's 30 polls this coming weekend in the nation, right? And the fan, they're just going to a truck and tractor pull. And if they might go to, a smaller state association level poll, they've never got to experience a 4-engine mod. Charles, I don't get to be around 4-engine mods that much. Seeing them at TPC, watching Tom Owens bury that thing. And I said to you, when Brandon Simon got beat Saturday night in the pro stock, I said, I feel sorry for his throttle on the mod, because that was because he was going to go out and try to win the mod class. And that's my point. The average, we said that, in quotes, Charles, the average polling fan, the person that probably doesn't watch Let's Grow Polling or knows what pulloff.com is or something like that, or goes to their just one poll a year, their local pair. They've never seen a big pro, a big super, a big two-wheeler, an open mini, a big 4-engine mod or something like that. That's life-changing. It is, as a polling fan, to see that. But is it watered down a little bit? I don't know, because the fact that there's just, I can go to, any poll and see a pro stock nowadays. I don't know. I mean, that's still what makes a Bowling Green special, the Tomas, the Chapel Hills. Yeah. It's all Grand National. It's all champion, so it's all big, like a a Rock Valley or a Wisner. It's all big, the big classes. You know what I mean? So.
Right. I don't know. I kind of look at it like pro stock has had components for 18 years, 17 years, and there's guys who just they couldn't keep up with it anymore.
Yep.
But they still got a frame, they still got a tracker, they still got a chassis, they still got a motor, and they can't go 4-1. They can't go light pro. They have a dust collector. By introducing the 5.0, now you get to see them come back and they get to go play again. And at the end of the day, if there's more iron out there running it, you cannot get me to say that's bad.
No. And where I was trying to go with this, like a 5.0 or a light pro or a limited pro should be a headliner for a major state.
Yes, I totally agree with your point. That's exactly right. But if we can get some of these guys back out and running some of these, in this area, I think one of the big ones in the Region 2 that is always pointed to as a legacy regional hook is Arcola, Indiana.
Yep.
They've never really been a Grand National. It's always been a region hook. It's always been 2 days. It's kind of like a big deal. If you can get 10 or 12 5.0 pros to go to Arcola, that's awesome. That's the kind of show that needs that.
Agreed. 1,000,000%. And like, yeah, you don't have to have. I just for a fan, we have to expose big mods. Multi-engine mods. Horsepower. Horsepower is impressive, Charles. Go to a drag race, right? And there's all the comp stuff, and I don't know all the names like you do. But then when the nitro cars come out, I remember going to Brainerd, Minnesota, my first time, Charles. We're out in the campgrounds, and you can hear all the cars. All of a sudden, the first nitro, and Grandpa goes, "Time to go to the track, Jason." And the ground shook when Gene Snow was the first one to hit the start line. This is when they were going 280 and a quarter mile. I would have been 14. I got a Bruce Larson t-shirt, Bruce on the Lewis. It was like $35 back for a t-shirt back then. My grandpa had money, right? He wasn't cheap. But he's like, $35 for a t-shirt? You're mowing my yard for free for a month. I'm like, Grandpa, I'll do whatever. Bruce on the loose. It's funny. He won the funny car championship that year. You know what I mean?
He's his one and only.
Yeah, it was awesome to see it. And I was blessed because my Uncle Paul was on the Michael Brotherton Top Fuel team. So I got to go behind the scenes. I mean, John Force gave me 5 pounds of Jolly Ranchers. That's back when Jolly Ranchers sponsored it.
You got lucky then. You got to see it when they used to run straight can. They could put 100% in the tank, and they can't do that now.
I met Don Prudhomme, Kenny Bernstein. I met all of them, and it was cool to do that. And then, I got to go with the tire guy they run the tires once, and they go sell them down to the slower classes. And I got to do all of that stuff with them, and it was cool. Super cool, super, super cool to do all of that. So, yeah. My ADD took over there, Charles. Sorry.
That's all good. I'll talk drag racing with anybody anytime.
Speaking of crossover, that's why I like a Mack Trailer Winter Nationals. What other events, Charles, have some crossover? Like, is there a place? Did you say there was some sled pulling up in Onaway?
For the Labor Day weekend deal, yeah, we'll do the semi racing, but we will do sled pulling. We have in the past, and actually, that place has the ignominious distinction of being the scene of the crime that's responsible for all of you having to shield your turbochargers with NTPA because Colton Saylor went by me and 20 feet later exploded his everywhere. So that's where it happened. It was non-sanctioned, but it led to the rule change. That's the kind of place.
Is that where we can? That's somewhere. Yeah, where we can expose a drag racing fan to pulling or vice versa. Like.
Yeah, it had that crossover. We had all the guys from Canada like the do the semi racing. A lot of them never hooked to a sled before, and we talked to them. We said, "Hey, do you want to try it? No pressure, whatever. Just come down. Let's do it." And we introduced it to them. A lot of them, few said, "No, I'll never do it again," right. But a few of them said, "Man, that's intense. I loved it." So. It's like anything else. All you can do is make the introduction, and then whatever happens, happens. But it's a way to expose a new set to what it's about.
Whenever I interview a legend in the sport, I sat down with Papa Wayne and Donnie and everybody down at TPC and did some interviews in the pit Saturday during the day. All the legends say, "Remember Monster Trucks, Jason? We gave Monster Trucks the spotlight, and they went off and ran on their own." And so that was kind of that. So, but that. Pulling exposed Monster Trucks to the mainstream media, right? Because pulling was mainstream in the 80s and 90s. There was nothing else to do. I mean, you talk about the Indy Super Pull. We've had people on there do that. And, Papa Wayne Sullivan, I just affectionately call him Papa Wayne. I don't know who got that in my brain, if it was Roos or somebody, but I love that man. He's just sweet. He's genuine. But he's pulled at the Astrodome, Anaheim. Yeah. Like, holy shit, Charles. Like,
it was
7,000 people. Like, we think Louisville's a big crowd, or we think Bowling Green's a big crowd.
It was huge. And I remember as a child, I'm going to show my age. I don't care. Back in the 80s, newspaper was how you found out what was going on.
Yep.
I don't remember the gentleman's name. If Andy Gerbaugh's still watching, he'll tell us. On Fridays, before the pull that would take place in the Silver Dome, which used to be, it's gone now, but it was 25 minutes from my house here. Not the front page of the sports section, the front page of the Free Press and the Detroit News, tractor pulling coming to the Silver Dome.
Wow.
Big spread. And, it doesn't get on the radar. When you say pulling was mainstream in the 80s, you're damn right it was.
It was. It was everywhere. It was everywhere. When we interviewed Dave Schreier at his house, he talked about, the Wranglers and all this.
Dean Isley. Yes, thank you, Andy. Dean Isley.
Dean, thanks. Yep.
And there would be, and in the sports section on Sunday, there would be follow-up because it was covered what happened.
Yeah.
I'd cut them out. The scrapbook, unfortunately, I don't even know if it still exists. I know I have I made a scrapbook that had some of those Detroit newspaper clippings of that. I don't know if it still exists. I'll have to check with Mom and see if that's still a thing anymore. I don't know. Maybe she's got a closet somewhere, but
That'd be neat. If you find that, that'd be badass.
yeah, I'll have to find out.
The one thing that always grabs me sideways when I go in, when they show a picture of an old tractor, like an old pro stock in the 80s, 90s, no roll cage and nothing like that, and they say those were the good old days. We need to go back to those days. You guys, at that time, that was the best. Okay, so there's something nostalgic about looking back. Like, I love a Mach 1 Mustang, right? That's my dad had a 428 Cobra Jet, whatever. Then he got my mom pregnant and he bought a Thunderbird, right? So someday I would love to go find my dad that Mach 1 Mustang. And once I find the money tree that Charles and I are both looking for, that we're probably all looking for.
Yeah.
But
I will have a repop of Dad's Porsche when that happens as well.
I think it's kind of funny. I read that comment. I see that a lot. Like, those were the good old days. But what you don't realize was at that time, that was the highest level pulling there was. So yeah, those were the good. Looking back, those were the good old days. But back then, $400,000 or whatever to build a pro stock now, that was the $400,000 tractor of that day. I don't know what that actually cost then, but so just, it's kind of funny. I don't know. I've always wanted to say that on the show, and we always have a guest on or something like that. And tonight, you and I are just kind of freelancing. But so I'm kind of offended when somebody says, well, we need to go back to the good old days. Well, what does that mean? What we're Pullers are out here working harder than ever to put on the show, and they're chasing the latest technology, and the guys and the gals back then were chasing the latest technology. Just the technology wasn't there. Just look at our lives now, anything. So anyway,
I don't have to even explain how nostalgic I am about pulling. I mean, that's obvious. You go to my YouTube channel, that's all you're going to see, right? But if at every event you are not capable of walking through the pit area and somebody pops their hood open and your jaw doesn't hit the floor for a second, you're not a fan of this what's going on.
Right.
When are the good old days? Well, when it comes to technology involved, right freaking now.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, what's going on?
It's awesome.
Yeah, Tim, it went beyond that. It was beyond sold out. They filled all the seats, and when there was no more seats to sit in, they flooded the floor.
Kleppy, I went golfing with him today. He's my friend. Sounds like someone with an IROC. So you know my IROC story, right, Charles?
I have seen the IROC story, and it was funny as hell. You were fit to be tied until they told you.
So I need to. I got that video. My buddy Doc redid that for me. But I used to buy things and not tell my wife. Like, if I didn't want to be told no, I didn't ask. And when I was in high school, I had to be nice to girls to get to go out with them because I didn't have a cool car. And I always said, if you had an IROC, you didn't have to be nice to girls. You just say, get in. Like, you had an IROC Z in high school, and whatever. You got the hottest girlfriend. So it took me 20 years. I married a very, very beautiful woman, my wife, obviously. And but when she found out I had the IROC when the insurance bill came to the house, and I got a call at work. It says, "Are you having an effing midlife crisis? We own an IROC Z." And she told me she used to take the rugs from our kitchen and go out and beat them into the hood of my car after I sold it. She's like, I hated that car. I saw it. Look out the kitchen window. So it's kind of funny looking back at all that stuff. I had to tell that story a little bit. So, all right, Morgan, sometimes your comments are crazy, but this one's actually pretty good. It's crazy how motorsports aren't covered by ESPN and National Sports Network. Doc Riley did it all back in the day. He did. What's cool, the Outlaws, we're going to be on ESPN Ocho or ESPN 2. We're filming at Rock Valley, and it's going to air August 12th. So there's a gal from Illinois that, they're looking for, Charles, what are they, the cornhole tournaments now, the axe throwing, darts.
Yeah.
They're looking for more stuff. There's so many channels now.
Well, ESPN's got what, 3 channels, and they got to fill 24 hours a day of content.
Yep. So we are the Outlaws.
Stephen A. yelling at you 24/7.
Charles Barkley. He goes, hey, who's winning, the Celtics or the Heat? I got to check that out.
I don't care.
I do, just because my walking. Heat versus Celtics. I got to look this up quick. Oh, shit.
When it comes to stick and ball sports, I'm a baseball guy, and holy crap, my Tigers, who they are a dumpster fire, are a game away from 500 and a game away from the AL Central lead, which isn't saying anything because the AL Central sucks.
But no, watching Doc Riley, the first time I got to announce with him, Charles, was at Cloverdale. And I love being a color guy, like with a really good announcer like you, or Miles, or anybody I've worked with that I trust, that I know that you guys are going to make sure the sponsors get mentioned, and make sure that people are talking, so I can just go look for the kid or look for the story or look for something fun. You'll find somebody sleeping at Gordyville. That's my favorite thing to do. Those are some of my best memories. But I got to work with Doc Riley at Cloverdale, just to hear his voice, from he had kind of hit up top up there where nobody could see him, and then talking to him. I got to talk to him at PRI, but seeing him, on ESPN, or was it Motorsports Cavalcade? Is that what it was? Charles?
That was ESPN. So it was part of the ABC umbrella. Yeah, the Cavalcade thing. Yep.
So, and I know Pro Polling League's going to be on some CBS Motorsports or
CBS,
something.
in this fall. I can't forget which event now. Shame on me.
Probably Hillsboro. I'm going to guess Hillsboro.
Yeah, they will have something out there, which is great. I mean, so remember how the world was ending last December, and all we said was just be patient, just be patient.
Yeah.
And slowly, it's been slow, but they have dropped some bombs that it's like, dude, PPL nothing changed. It didn't go anywhere. It's as strong and as good as it ever was. So good for them. I applaud John and Christy for all the work. I know it took a ton.
Oh yeah. Well, we had him on the show that one night. He said he's 45 days behind everybody else. So, and I like having 3 major associations like that, because you don't want anybody to outdo you. You know what I mean? The Outlaws are always looking to step up their game, and if you don't have the Outlaw app, put that. You don't even have to go to an Outlaw show. The Outlaw app is awesome. As a fan, as a puller, we register on it on the way to the poll, and then Lori hits a button and pulls our polling order, and we never even have. Only reason we go up to the check-in table, Charles, is to get our wristbands for the insurance.
Yeah,
that's it. It's awesome. It's awesome to be able to knock that out like that. So, but yeah, so the Outlaws are going to be on ESPN this year. The NTPA is on RFD TV. That is still like one of the most watched shows. Randall has told me on RFD TV. They get that one prime spot. And what did Schreier talked about how that all came together. But you don't realize, guys, like the NTPAs, I think they spend $100,000 a year to be on RFD TV. But then what you do then is you go out and you sell spots. You sell sponsorship spots on that show.
Yeah.
Or you offer that up to your sponsors, like a Case IH or something like that, like a big title sponsor. So it's kind of fun to see that. Coltrane energy drink, Charles. I saved one for you. I got to get you one. So they're getting big into pulling. These guys, so they're sponsoring the Outlaws, they're sponsoring PPL, sponsoring Missouri State. I think they're doing a bunch of stuff. So if you guys start looking for this in your stores, we had them on the show, the Outlaw show, Outlawed with Ron Stone last Tuesday. It's good, and it tastes good, and I'm not just saying that, Charles. Like,
that's good, because there's like one version of Monster that I can actually drink.
Yeah,
and the rest of them, anything else, and
these guys
are black coffee, please. I'm getting old.
These guys are conservative, everyday people like you and I. There's 3 of them. I think Ryan is the owner, and then he has a couple employees, but they've been truck drivers. They've owned construction companies. That the first one is this Diesel number 2 energy. I just think that's so cool.
Perfect.
And I'm gonna drink one right now, actually.
Diesel number 2. Let's see. Could they have some Jet A? They could have Methanol Madness.
Yep.
Yeah, they could all.
Obviously, I'm working on a remedy. I told them they'd be a fantastic title sponsor for the new Diesel Super, and they said their exact words were, "Yeah, let us see if we just don't go bankrupt in the first year."
Oh my. Well, suggest to them that they get to work and make it a seltzer variety, and we'll just do our thing.
And then knock it out of the park for them, stuff like that. So, yeah, we're all in this together. So, and like I said, if you're just a fan and you don't, the biggest thing you can do as a fan on social media is just like, comment, and share. I know you hear me say that all the time, but it's so important, because then the more stuff you comment on, or the more stuff you like, the more stuff you start seeing in your news feed. Because I'm guilty, Charles, of just seeing what I like. I try to click on everything pulling just so my news feed is full. So I want to see everything from garden tractors to antiques, all the way up to obviously, like our TPC type of events. It makes it fun. So
I get that. Like I said earlier in the show, I had to load 100 names in my head last weekend, 100 names in my head this past weekend, and now I got another 150 names I got to remember for this coming weekend. It's tough to stay on top of everything across 3 different disciplines.
I got to get Morgan Schulte to answer this question for Shane. He's our little rain man. What events are NTPA live streaming this year? I can't find them anywhere. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know if there's an advance on ntpapool.tv.
They have a yearly. I feel like they have a yearly.
Gosh, shame on me for not even knowing the web address. That's how tired I am. I'm done.
No, the fact that you jumped on tonight, I was shocked. I actually prepped and got some stuff ready ahead of time. The one storyline I have that I want to talk about a little bit is streaming. The live streams are going to be huge, and we need you, the fan, and the puller to support that. Right now, I feel like it's the diehard fans, Charles, and then you're the puller's family. They can't get to every pull because they got to stay back, and the kids have a game, or they got this going on, or they got to go to work the next day. But live streaming is going to be huge. It's going to be huge for full pull bets, obviously, because people are going to want to watch and wager on those vehicles going down the track. But it's also just good for the sport. That's another set of eyeballs, Charles, that we can put in front of a sponsor. So.
It popped up ntpa.tv. There's no real schedule that I can find. So
Schulte says Benson, Farley, Hutch, Toma, Chapel Hill, Fort Recovery, Rockwell. So I've always seen him at Rockwell. I've always seen him at Toma.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him at Hutch, and I've never been to Farley as an NTPA poll. I think this is the first ever NTPA poll in Farley that I know of, at least Grand National wise.
I kind of think that's correct.
Benson's got to be. I mean, that racetrack is out there. Strickland's, they do an amazing job.
I can't imagine that like Bowling Green wouldn't be, or Fort Recovery. Well, he's got Fort on there. Bowling Green as well, and Enderley, of course.
But I know my haters say that I'm a blowhard or whatever, but I'm telling you flat out, pulling is in an amazing spot. These next couple of years are going to be huge. The stuff that's going on behind the scenes, big money people, big money sponsors are waiting for pulling to take that next step. And it's going to be fun. It is going to be fun. And there's going to be more exposure to this sport than ever. So everybody, I'm proud of Bradley Sturgeon. He's a young kid out of Kentucky, just got going with his YouTube channel and TikTok and all that stuff. The more, the merrier. Nobody's your competition. A couple of you guys are pissers and moaners and whiners because you don't have enough followers. You don't care how many people watch your videos. You don't care how many followers you have. You just go. The only time I ever talk about how many followers we have is when I talk about it with a sponsor just for legitimacy purposes. Like, hey, we've been doing this for 10 years and we have a large following. I will use numbers in those situations. Other than that, you just go. Because people aren't liking every video, Charles, but they see your video. You know what I mean? They're not pushing the smash button or the like button or the heart button or whatever. I'm just pumped, Charles. I really am. And this was fun tonight with you for me to just really kind of free ball it, if you will. I don't know what's the word, freelance.
Yeah, some of the best sidetrack shows Andrew and I ever did were what we called Seinfeld shows, where there was no script. It was a show about nothing, and just see where the conversation went.
Well, then we have so many dedicated fans that watch the show every Monday night, and it's fun to see the same names popping up and see new names and different things like that. It's fun to do that. So Nick says, I don't care at all. I'm happy as hell to get my picks from the events in my area, OSTPA, NTPA, Region 2, even Antiques. But Nick, I see pullers comment on your pictures and say, thank you, Nick. Your pictures are great. You guys, you want pullers to share your stuff. Pullers want to see pictures of their vehicles. They want to see videos of their vehicle. But they may not know who Nick Stepic is. But if Nick tags that pulling team or tags that or shares it to them or sends it to them in Messenger, they're more than likely going to share this around. You know what I mean? And that's what makes you cool. You don't have to be an Adam Drought to take good pictures because he's the man. But other people, can do it as well. Have a lot of fun with that. I told Allie, Charles, if I ever find the money tree, I'm going to make a Polaroid camera, but it's going to have all the coolest, latest stuff in there. But I'm going to give you a Polaroid, and I'm going to have you go around.
There was a kid
you're taking Polaroid pictures.
Swear to God, Saturday morning, there was a kid walking around, he couldn't have been more than 12 or 13 years old. He was walking around the pits. There were trucks with the hood, but he had a legit old school Polaroid camera and was taking Polaroids of these trucks.
That's
I appreciate the enthusiasm. It was awesome.
I love it. Yeah, Robert Danner checking out his new reveal coming Thursday. They have a Green Stair sponsor, Gavilon Grain or something. I forget, but they got a big new sponsor. I saw that today. But they promote it, get it out there. Jeremy Roberts promotes his Wicked Whitetail. He got voted into the fans, the TPC, and he won the damn thing. It's not, you're not bragging. You're not a blowhard. Just post about your stuff. It's all good. Everybody's always so worried what everybody's going to think all the time. Just go out and promote your team. Mick Broughton says shop treatment, 4-wheel drive new wrap. Yeah, I saw him peeling off the other one. Who can guess the colors and theme? Go to Broughton Motorsports and Facebook.
Am I excluded from that, Mick?
Yeah, you are, Charles. If you read really small below, winner gets a T-shirt or hoodie. It says Charles, go to bed. So
Yeah.
Nick says I let my camera do the talking, not me. Matt Carter, I don't have a big camera. I just use my phone to take my pics and videos.
That's fine.
Adam Wilson is the YouTube god of pulling. I don't care. He is. He's the man. He did everything from his phone, I think, until a couple months ago. Okay. I mean, he recorded.
He finally upgraded
Yeah.
sometime last year. Yep, you're right.
He's got like 2 freaking bajillion followers and like so many crazy views. So don't worry. Just get out there and do it. Get out there.
Saw
and do
him
it.
again. Second weekend in a row, and I get to see him again this coming weekend.
UCC. I really want to go to UCC, but that's
I cannot wait. We're going to be at least 5 dragsters, a bunch of brand new pro mods. It's going to be awesome. We're going to smash records. You're going to see the fastest diesels you've ever seen. It's going to be incredible.
It's going to be fun. Green galvanized stairs, Robert Danner says. Green galvanized stairs. That'd be neat. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun pulling season, Charles. I'm going to Canada Sunday. Go chase the big fish. I go fishing once a year.
Where are you going up there?
We go in Ontario, Dryden area.
Okay.
It's about 2.5 hours north of International Falls.
Yep. Okay. Nice.
And it's a family thing every year. I love it. So I need you to be the main pilot next week.
Gotcha.
Got bringing some promoters on. You'll have RJ Simon on. We're gonna have I think we got 3 or 4 polls to promote. Big polls coming up.
Cool. Yeah, I'm ready. Well, I say right now I'm ready. I'm going to be coming in on the backside of UCC. Yeah. I might be here in body only, but we'll get it done.
Doug Borth will be on with you. And he'll keep it going, keep it going. So I just want to thank all of you that love the sport as much as we do. We all don't have to like each other, but respect is okay. Like I can respect what this person does for the sport. I can respect what they do. That's fine. That's good like that. When you hear Charles and I talk about rivalries and fun, that sells T-shirts, that sells eyeballs. You guys, that's what we have to be thinking like. The sport has not grown to the level that I personally want it to be, or Charles, or anybody like that. We feel this is the best motorsport on earth. Okay, and I love a drag race and blah blah blah, but I love pulling more. It's my jam, and I want to see it grow. It deserves more eyeballs, so I'm going to keep working on that. It's going to take some entertainment factors.
Yeah.
And some of you aren't ready for entertainment, and I'm sorry, but you had your chance. You've had your chance the last 30 years, and now I just want some other people to really get involved. And I'm not just talking about me. I need everybody. If you're a YouTuber, make more entertaining videos. If you're a TikToker, whatever, show behind-the-scenes stuff. If you're a puller, get in the shop, show stuff. Show projects, show where you're at. People love that stuff. People love that stuff. If you are a YouTuber or a social media person, look at your videos that get the most comments and contents, and then go make more of that content. It's really that simple. What do your viewers want to see? And Charles is the man at this kind of stuff. So if you ever want to pick somebody's brain, talk to Charles, because he'll do that. But the problem is there's just not enough time to get all the ideas.
That's the level that we're finding ourselves at right now. And to your point, exactly, we need more people doing it, because my hours every week are all accounted for. Yep. And it's if I don't get back to you, I don't respond. It's not because I'm being a dick or I don't want to. It's just, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I'm flat out busy. I am overloaded.
Yep. But that's where, if we can get to the point where we can have full-time people in this sport, because right now all the associations, I'm telling you guys, they may seem like they have a lot of people. A lot of them are part-timers. A lot of them are volunteers. And
they don't. The two of us have day jobs. I mean, let's be real.
They're running. They're running a skeleton crew to get all this stuff done. And COVID was hard on the major associations and staff and sponsorship and stuff like that. So starting to come back. So let's just stay positive. Let's have a lot of fun, and let's keep jamming with it a little bit. So before I let you go, Charles, Randy, is it Wilking? He has that little
Randy Wilkening. Yeah.
He sent me a video of their tractor. I was watching this weekend.
Yeah. And Randy, if you're watching, there's a reason you have pink on all your pulling tractors. Throw it in the comments. Tell everybody.
That's funny. Yeah, he was watching earlier. James Reska, you guys are the modern day George Hendrickson. All of you guys are great for the sport. George Hendrickson is one of the most legendary announcers of all time. I grew up listening to that guy in Iowa, and he did a lot of outlaw stuff when the Outlaws came along. And it's just fun. Was that Chuck? With Chuck, were you announcing there? Does anyone recognize the voice?
Must have been.
Must have been the Chuckster. So, anyway, thank you for watching. That's all I got. Oh, Charles, I saw that tractor with the duals backing up. We need a class in the States like they do over there, those front wheel assist tractors. Charles, yes. I don't know what they call them. But they sound like pro stocks. They look like farm tractors. I mean, it's the
super sport or whatever they call it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that.
Stacy Butts.
All right.
Good to see Stacy back out announcing something. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, hey guys, thanks for watching. We're here every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Charles, I know you're tired as hell. Thank you for coming on tonight.
No problem.
Thank you. We've had a nice crowd. Enjoyed. I love all the comments and stuff like that. So have a great night.
See ya.
I'm gonna show some promo videos. Charles, you go to bed, okay?
You bet.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
June 16th and 17th, as Case IH and Arnold's present the NTPA Power Pull Grand Nationals. 2 horsepower hungry pulling tracks, 6 top-tier classes, pro stock tractors, exciting mini rods, super semis, modified tractors, super stock diesel tractors, and new this year, the super stock diesel 4-wheel drive trucks. 2 nights of non-stop pulling action, 7 p.m. each night, at the McLeod County Fairgrounds, Hutchinson, Minnesota. NTPA Grand National Pulling Action is coming to Farley, Iowa. 6 exciting pulling classes on June 9th and 10th. Modified 4-wheel drive trucks, super farm tractors, the exciting mini rods, the powerful modified tractors, the modified 2-wheel drive trucks, and the 10,000-pound pro stock tractor. Session 7 p.m. both nights at the 300 Raceway, Farley, Iowa, June 9th and 10th. Be there.
Baldwin Filters, MTV, and KFXL Fox, Nebraska invite you to the 2023 Ravenna Tractor Pull. 2 big nights, Friday, June 9th and Saturday, June 10th at 7 p.m. both nights at Anabar Park, Ravenna. See Grand National Outlaw Class, Pro Stock, Modified, Super Farm, Pro Stock 4x4, Modified 2-wheel drive, Light Pro Stock, Diesel Super Stock, Light Super Stock, and Light Limited Pro Stock. That's June 9th and 10th, Anabar Park, Ravenna.